In my experience, when your results don't match your effort, especially if you've had some success in other areas, odds are extraordinarily high that you are protecting yourself from what you really want and may desperately need, and you don't know it.
Welcome to GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, aka the Going North Podcast, where authors from around the world help you realize that success is tangible. You'll leave with at least one new piece of inspiration or information to help you keep going north every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now let's get on with the show. And today on a super special, awesome podcast for super special, awesome humans known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, the Going North Podcast. Year number 4. Podcast has been alive. The lights haven't been turned out yet, folks. So that means we're doing something right because we got one heck of a super special, awesome guest for you today, my friends, because my goodness, we had the husband of today's guest back in late 2020. I believe it was October of all months, where he actually married this lovely lady 25 times in 20 countries. And when you hear this chick's bio, it's like, man, no wonder she got swiped, because she's the international #1 best-selling author of a super special, awesome book called The Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. She's a sought-after speaker, teacher, and pioneer in personal development, and is widely regarded to be the world's leading relationship with money coach. And she has a groundbreaking program for creating wealth that's been featured in all sorts of media outlets like ABC, NBC, Fox, PBS, NPR, CNN, and a whole dragon scroll, the Great Wall of China size boatload of media appearances. And she's been a featured expert with some folks who've actually appeared on the show before, like Bob Doyle, and some other folks in the future, like Laurel Langmeyer, Marianne Williamson, and Deepak Chopra. And this fabulous lady right here brings over 40 years of professional experience as a professional performer to deliver powerful transformational experiences that empowers idealistic entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and artists to have a big impact in the world. So let's give it up for the one, the only Miss MR herself, the magnificent and radiant Morgana Rae. How you doing today, Morgana?
Hello, Dom. Hello. Wow, what a great intro. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure indeed.
And can I commend you on your excellent taste in having Devin Galladay on the show last year, who is my husband and favorite person.
Oh, yeah. Devin's the man. That's right. Travel writer goodness. It's only fitting he picked the right woman, folks. That's right. Second time around. That's right.
Well, first time for me, but I grew up in a family where, and this goes back to my great grandmothers on both sides, where the people in my family just didn't get marriage right the first time, but nailed it the second. And I made a decision when I was 7 years old that it would be more efficient to simply wait and marry the second husband and skip the first one, which is kind of what I did, because I met Devin when I was 45 and we started getting married when I was 47. And it wasn't for lack of looking on my part, but I've really come to believe in divine timing. And in retrospect, he was worth the wait. Didn't feel like it at the time, but I think we just need to go through what we need to go through to grow up. And if it wasn't me, it was him just waiting to ripen and be cooked so that we could meet at the right time.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. That's a happy testimony right there, especially in 2021, where it's like, wow, he was worth the wait. Where some folks are like, man, I waited. And I'm like, man, I should have stayed waited.
Ah, oh, that's I hate to hear that, because I am fundamentally a romantic. And I also think that there was a piece that I left out, which was, here I'm really well known about changing relationship with money. And the piece behind changing relationship with money is that it's been my observation. I've been coaching for 27 years now, since 1994. And What I've come to believe coaching so many thousands of clients and observing patterns over and over and over again is when somebody is doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. And we'll start with business and money, and you're taking all the classes, reading all the books, applying everything, taking action, getting good results, getting testimonials, just doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and you're still not getting the results you're supposed to be getting. And you can't for the life of you figure out why. And if you have a coach, your coach can't for the life of them figure out why. In my experience, when your results don't match your effort, especially if you've had some success in other areas, odds are extraordinarily high that you are protecting yourself from what you really want and may desperately need, and you don't know it. Because if you knew it, you could fix it, right? But and this applies to money, this applies to love, this applies to health, this applies to any area of your life where you're just trying so hard and nothing is working. And that is a clue that unconsciously, and you're not aware of it, you are protecting yourself from a danger, and it's a real danger. And so the first step is to find out what it is so that you can make what you want safe. Because when what you want becomes safe, not just to your woken, clear and present, easy to access conscious brain, mind, but to the part of you that is below the surface, which is like 95% of you at least. But when it really feels safe to all of you, that's when things happen really fast, really easy, and you get to keep it. And that's true in money, that's true in love, all sorts of stuff. So I did that first with money. And then I was looking at my life and how hard I was working to find a life partner. And yeah, I was reading all the books, taking all the classes, hiring the coaches, doing everything that I was told to do. And I was still getting nowhere, and it didn't make sense, and it was so annoying because I could hear myself talking like this and sharing what I'm sharing with you today in the context of money, and in the back of my head I'd be going, oh my god, that looks just like me with relationship crap. Gonna have to do the same thing with love. Ugh. And so I did, and I uncovered all of the root cause stuff, the reasons I might be protecting myself in love. And there was so much more there than I thought, than I expected. And then when I personified all of this horrible pain into an imaginary person that I would call my love monster, it was ginormous. It was as big as planet Earth and hard to get rid of. And I'm kind of tipping my hand in the process, and I'll backtrack, I promise. But the punchline is, when I got rid of my love monster, and by the way, I did the whole thing in just a matter of minutes. I By rejecting my love monster and getting and obliterating my imaginary love monster, I shifted something because I met my husband 2 months later at the age of 45.
Mm.
And the fun thing is, when you make that thing that you've wanted all your life safe, not only does it come, but it comes big. And that's where this whole getting married 100 times in 100 countries just dropped in my lap, because it was Devin's idea, not mine. I was just like, got married, bucket list complete, check, happy, love the guy. And then it was this whole next level that I never imagined possible. And the journey with money has been a lot like that too. That's what I'm known for, that's what I've been doing longer. But if I'm going to be completely honest here, love is my highest value, which is why I had to apply love to my relationship with money just to have it in my life. So was that a good teaser or what?
Definitely was a good teaser indeed, and it's so darn powerful and so darn true. It's really kind of a play on the classic comfort zone thing where it's like, hey, like you get out your comfort zone, that's when the magic appears. But at the same time, it's like kind of in reverse where you're protecting yourself from what you really truly desire. It's like, what are you protecting yourself from? What you're protecting yourself from is actually what may be hurting you.
Yes. And what you're protecting yourself from is really, really deep and really, really dangerous and you deserve protection from. And this is where we need to make it safe. For you to get out of your comfort zone, it has to be safe to do so. Don't jump out of the plane without a parachute. So make it safe to take that leap. And it doesn't work to push somebody. Pushing, when you push, people push back. So it needs to come from when you are ready, when the pain is big enough that you are motivated to get rid of it. One of my least favorite things to hear when somebody wants to hire me is, "Oh, I've got a fine relationship with money. Really, no problem. I just want it to be better." Because there's nothing to work with there. And what we want is we want polarity. So whoever is listening, who is in the worst place right now, who has anxiety and frustration, and maybe you're feeling a little hopeless, and congratulations, you've got a huge advantage in this process. And I don't want you to be in pain. I don't want you to be suffering and all that kind of stuff. But if you're there, it is incredibly useful. And if you've already had the experience and you can access it, great. Like we all have some really challenging, painful experience in our life story because that's part of the human experience. And I know a lot of my coaching colleagues are really into, just focus on the positive and just have positive vibrations. And I think that's extremely well intentioned. And it's great to have good vibes and feel good. And we will get you there. But first, the way to get there for the biggest change and the biggest impact and the biggest results is to go in the other direction and really dive into what's not working. So if I have any law of attraction fans out there, I love you. And I invite you to take off that law of attraction positive thinking cap for a few minutes and you get to have it back. But if something's not working, we want to diagnose it. Like if your left arm is bleeding and hanging off of your shoulder and is about to fall off, you don't tell the doctor you're fine. You don't hide it from your doctor. We want to see what the problem is. So this is your chance to access the superpowers of victimhood. And I know victimhood gets a really bad rap, but it actually, I believe, is sacred because we all have that experience from time to time, and we don't want to live there. And we don't want to make our identity victim. We don't want to say, I am a victim, but we really, really want to take this moment to exploit that experience because you've already had it. So you might as well milk it for what it's worth. Take it to the bank. Literally, in this moment, we are going to take a look at what is blocking you from attracting what you want in the world. And most often, people come to me because it's a money thing. But the root cause of the money block is never actually in the money itself. It's what money represents, which is stuff like love, our lovability. Are we loved? Worth. Are we worthy? What do other people think we're worth? What is our self-worth? And safety. Safety. Is the world a safe place? Does the world love us? Do we even have a right to exist? And that can be a real painful thing for people, especially in the United States, where medical care is so tied to money, and money just has so much power in our lives. It can be a monster. So what we want to do is, instead of pretending everything's okay, we want to magnify and amplify and shine a light on everything that's not, so that we can get rid of it. And I call the process financial alchemy because alchemy is the transmutation of lead, like lead in human experience, into gold, like spiritual and material gold. But if we don't separate the lead from the gold, then we're kind of stuck in the middle in what I call money mud, and nothing changes there. So we want to create this polarity, this kind of stretchiness, this tension like a slingshot, where we go into all of the ick. We don't stay there. In fact, it will motivate us to get out so that we can leave it behind forever. So the first step is to dig into, first, if I'm going really gently, I might ask, what are the negative things you've seen or heard about money? And that's a nice, easy, obvious place to start. But I'm going to give you a secret here, that that's never where you're going to find the root cause. When you start looking at anything that has ever made you feel unloved or unsafe or unworthy, anything that you may feel ashamed of, anything that has betrayed you, and it can be personal, and it can be societal, and it can be historical, and it can be systemic. If you have observed injustice in the world and it makes your gut churn, throw that in there. It's like you're building a case against existence, because our relationship with money is really like our relationship with existence, because money touches everything. I like to focus on relationship with money because money is the number one excuse human beings give for anything we can't have, do, or be. So we're going to make money the monster to begin with, but we're going to get there by looking at, did any of your parents or family members break your heart, or make you feel not good enough, or make you feel not safe? And what about kids at school, or teachers, or friends, or lovers, or business partners in the years since? And just pick out whatever is popping for you now, whatever has energy, no matter how many times you've already healed it. Because if you can still milk some value out of it, yay. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. You don't have to go through it again. But if you can find a charge right now, and it can seem like the tiniest thing in the world. I had a client decades ago who was playing doctor when he was maybe 3 years old with a little girl, like kids just figuring out what makes them different. Totally, totally innocent. And a parent came in and he just felt the shame and the embarrassment. And that was his root cause decades later of what made him feel not good enough, and felt ashamed and not worthy of money and love. And by the way, when we slayed that monster, and we'll get to that part, and changed his relationship with money, he made $1.6 million over the next 6 weeks. Just saying. Because I like to demonstrate, because it sounds very woo, but I like real, tangible, measurable results. So first step is the heaviest, which is uncover anything that has made you feel unloved, unsafe, or unworthy. Anything in the world that has felt unjust and unright, that makes the world not a friendly place, and makes you not feel like you want to be here. And you just want to build enough of a case that you're like, ugh, this is horrible. I don't want to have any part of it. It's just, the world looks awful. And in that moment, then we imagine, and this is where things get weird, what we imagine, that there is a person who's responsible for all of it. We personify the root cause, and we'll call that your money monster, because anything can be tied to money. Our parents were our first experience of money. They told us if we were loved and safe and worthy or not. And any money represents nothing in our society but love, worth, safety, and power. And so anything that goes on in your life that is an abuse of love, safety, worth, or power is going to show up in your relationship with money. And anytime anybody said, oh, we can't afford it, and you felt that scarcity and that denial, or anytime you said, I can't afford it, money again was this big resounding no to life. So we want to make money the bad guy, especially with stuff that doesn't look like it's money. And you want to make it as real as possible. Just not cartoonish, not a caricature. You want it to feel like, ooh, I can feel the temperature of this person. I can smell his breath. I can hear the mean things he says to me. I can see the hate in his eyes. And it can be female or male. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever your monster is. And it represents everything that is wrong in the world and has been wrong in your life. Any mean thing that you've ever said to yourself or believed about yourself, imagine that that's your money monster who's been whispering it into your ear in your own voice. Because the ultimate goal of the monster is to destroy you, but to do it in a really slow way. And ultimately, when you get that only one of you gets to survive, because the natural outcome of this money monster is to drive you to no longer want to exist, which is a really dangerous place, or put you in such peril, economic peril, that you don't get to exist. You see how bad it is. And while we're talking about imagination, this is real stuff. These are real pains. These are real dangers. Even though the personhood is imaginary, it just makes us able to change it. But the dynamic and the feelings and your experiences and your observations are real and not to be ignored. So we put all of that in the monster, and then only one of you gets to walk away. And you get to decide and choose yourself. At which point we get to step number 3, and you destroy the monster by any means necessary. And because it's imagination, you can blow it up. You can use a flamethrower or a machete or a fiery pit or sharks, piranhas. I had a client who ran over her monster with a monster truck. I love that. Right?
Nice.
Have fun with it. You are choosing yourself. And I know that my people tend to be the kind, uplifting do-gooders. A lot of you are vegan.
Yeah.
Not overtly the violent type. And this piece, especially for women, can be like, I don't know about that. Not my values. I had a client in Spain who said, I can't kill my money monster. I'm a vegan, which it's imaginary. Yes, you can. It's like being a sacred warrior. Every time you say no to your monster, you are saying yes to what you want. Sometimes the quickest way to what you want is saying no to what you don't want, and you are rejecting what does not get to exist in your life experience, and you do it as dramatically as possible. I am a drama queen. I love dramatic results. I also found that it works better this way. Way back in the dark ages of the early 2003s, I was like, oh, just break up with it. Doesn't work as well. We want the monster not only gone, but we want all of the bloody bits gone so that no like zombie money monster can reconstitute and show up. We want a total vacuum. And a little geeky side note, what we're doing with all this imagination and like dragging you through your dramas and your traumas and digging them back up just enough to feel really motivated to create a monster and get rid of it, not to dissociate or go through an episode, but just enough to have stuff to work with, is we are neurologically lighting you up, which is the perfect peak experience to rewire your brain the way you want it to be wired. It's like taking out that old, really well-worn record and scratching it so that you can lay down a different track altogether. So we want big emotions, big full body experience, not just an intellectual exercise and not just money beliefs and money stories, which, by the way, if changing your money story changes your life, have at it. Terrific. I know lots of coaches like to sell that. I've never seen it work. Didn't work for me. It hasn't worked for my clients. It's the stuff underneath. I know money mindset's another popular buzzword. And I think mindset is useful to a point. But if mindset was enough, nobody in America would ever have to go on a diet again. It's our bodies, it's our instinct, it's our appetite that really gets our results. So, what we want to do is change that relationship on a full body level from like the ickiest, most abusive boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever person that's like, ugh, to someone that we really want to be with. So the only way to get there is to dig up everything we don't want and then get rid of it, which, by the way, is a reason that the monster, even for the person listening who had really monstrous parents, which is tragic, but it does happen, we're not going to make your monster your parent, because I don't believe you would actually kill your parents. And I would never ask you to pretend that, because I think that's hard. I don't really think that's healthy to imagine. And I really want you to have a monster that's gone. So, what I encourage you to do is imagine that your monster is like a puppet master who used your parent or whoever abused you to get at you, but is much bigger. And then when you get rid of that puppet master, you come out different on the other side, so much more powerful, so much stronger. And when the monster is gone and you just feel it's like, wow, this is weird, because you've had this relationship your whole life without even noticing it. And now that it's gone, you can really feel that it's gone. And that's good. And it may feel great and it may feel scary. Both work. Both are good answers. Because step number 4, we finally get to the fun part. Yes, there is a fun part. And that's where you get to meet your money honey. And the money honey, and this is the weird thing about the money honey, is the money honey doesn't feel anything like money. I only call it money because money was the area of love, or sorry, the area of life that needed my love and my healing at that time. And periodically, when I see horrible things in the world, I just go, oh, is a new monster there? Oh, there it is. And I just get rid of it. And it's sort of like brushing your teeth. But the first one is the really dramatic one. And mostly I just want you to learn how to do it so you can do it. But when the monster is gone, then you are open to a new relationship that's totally different. And when the monster is gone, all that remains is love, because the monster was everything that wasn't loving and wasn't safe and did not exalt you. So what is left loves you more than anybody else in the world, is safe and is on your side and is yummy as heck. Guy or woman, it's really up to whoever you are attracted to. It works either way. Maybe your usual type, may not be your usual type at all, but you like this person and this person is in love with you. And this person feels more like love than money. And that's what makes it work. If it feels like money and it's like, oh, I want a new car, that isn't a new relationship. Anything that makes you dependent or scarcity based, or what have you done for me lately, or do this for me, that kind of infantilizes you, and that puts you back in a money monster relationship. So that's not what this is about. What this is about is this hot hunky person looking at you, giving you butterflies, if you're a butterfly in the stomach kind of person, who wants to be with you, who sees you at your best, sees who you really are without any of your crazy self-defeating neuroses, which is really useful, because then you can have a conversation. And by the way, we'll find your crazy self-defeating neuroses totally adorable and endearing, because they are, because it's part of the human condition. but this person sees you who you really are, as your most powerful. And then you have a conversation, which is what is so useful about making money a person. And this is your money, honey. You get to have a conversation. I suggest the first conversation may sound something like, what do you need from me so you can stay with me? And that the reason I like that question is because if you've met your money honey, and I like to say meet instead of create. If you hear tapes of me from 10 or 20 years ago, I might have said, oh, and I'm really dating myself by saying tape, like, Dom, you may not even know what that means. Record. If you hear a recording of me, I would have said something like create. But what I like is when this person just shows up like his own person or her own person that you didn't have to struggle with or invent. It's just like, I'm here. And then you can ask and you feel how loved you are, and you can feel how much this person wants to be with you. Then the natural question is, what do you need from me to stay with me? Because the truth is, and this is probably the biggest truth of being a human being and the biggest surprise, is it's almost like Dorothy with her ruby slippers, where she always, always, always had the power to return home. You always, always, always had the power to allow money in your life, and you never knew it. And you never knew that you were pushing it away until you saw your money monster and how scary and horrible it was. And in that moment, it was like, oh, now it makes sense. And now I have to get rid of this version of money because there's no way I can have it in my life if it looks like this. And by the way, you can substitute love or whatever your challenge is, but we're going to play with money because that's my shtick. So now you have this money honey who loves you and wants to be with you and is full of possibility. And now you see that you were always the gatekeeper. The only reason it wasn't there is because you were pushing it away and you were protecting yourself from the money monster, but the money monster no longer exists. Now you've got this great person, flesh and blood, worthy of your deepest trust and admiration. Not really flesh and blood, but it feels like it. One of my favorite things is when a client says, oh my God, I feel like I'm cheating on my spouse, which is so funny because your money honey doesn't have a body and is imaginary. But if you feel that way, holy heck, you're doing it right. Yay, you. And I'll say, yay, because your money honey doesn't have a body, but guess who does? And your spouse is really going to appreciate this energy. And it's great for marriages that way. Or if you're not married, your romantic partnership. And if you don't have a romantic partnership, it's great for attracting the right romantic partnership of somebody who will love you and value you and be safe to be with, because your money honey will never tolerate anything less than that. That's actually another part of how I ended up with my husband. Was I had a money honey who was like, no, that person's not going to do. No, not that person. No, you have to hold out for somebody who loves you as much as I do. And when I found the person, my money honey was like, yeah, this is the guy. So asking the question, what do you need from me so that you can stay with me? Then you shut up, which, as you can tell, is a really big challenge for me. So you just have to shut up and listen. And my money honey, when I first did this by accident in March of 2003, and I could feel how much he loved me, and which, by the way, was weird because I never thought of money loving me, especially when I was struggling with it so painfully at the time. But now there's this beautiful romantic young man. Mine was tall, dark, and handsome in a tuxedo and carrying a bouquet of red flowers. And I could feel how much I'd broken his heart for so long. And I didn't want to be that jerk to him. because he was so sweet and lovable and cute. So I asked him and he said, I need you to love me. And he said it in just such a vulnerable way, and to stop treating me like a monster. And I felt so bad that I'd been hurting him like that. And I didn't want to do that. So I made a promise that next time he brought me a gift, I would say thank you. And what that looks like in real terms is next time he brought me, somebody wanted to hire me, instead of getting all weird and freaky and and repulsive, getting so uncomfortable when somebody would ask me, how do you work or how do you charge? And I would get all like, you just, the discomfort would rise. My discomfort with charging to help people was so acute. And I know a lot of you don't relate, and a lot of you do. You don't have to be just like me. I mean, I've coached billionaires. Everybody has an issue. That was mine at the time. So I made a promise that next time he brought me a client, I would say thank you. And that would look like saying, this is what I charge, with, for me, the energy of, and isn't he luscious? And then I would shut up and let people hire me. And then this is the crazy bit. The next day, the very next day, 4 people contacted me. I had 4 phone calls with people who wanted to hire me out of the blue. They all hired me at double what I'd ever charged before in my life. And full transparency, you remember I was talking about, that the gagging when somebody would ask me what I charged. And the insane thing is I was charging so little. I was so undercharging. I had mountains of testimonials, and I was so undercharging and so uncomfortable getting paid, because I had such a big fear of money getting in the way of love and being dangerous, that I never saw until I saw my money monster. So the next day I had that conversation. I could hear the old patterns wanting to rise into my mouth, and I just didn't let them. I just bit my tongue and shut up and let people figure out how to pay me and say yes. And so I picked up 4 new clients the next day, and they kept coming and they never stopped coming. And I have made millions of dollars since. And that allows me to first hold out for the best man on the planet for me, and then cut out time to travel everywhere in the world, getting married again and again and again. I do believe that the truest, highest purpose of money is to serve love, and to serve a great, healthy, wonderful, fun lifestyle, and to serve legacy and make the world a better place for everybody else. Love, lifestyle, and legacy. That is the true purpose of money. And anything, whenever money doesn't serve that, that's when you've got a perversion. That's when you've got an unhealthy relationship with money. So when the billionaire hires me because all of his relationships are a mess, he doesn't have a great relationship with money yet. Or when the client with tens of millions of dollars calls me because when she made the money, all of her relationships fell apart and her fiance left her and all of her friends started treating her like the bank. We changed her relationship with money. And that's when she attracted that hot Buddhism professor who's now her fiance, who worships her, is not in it for the money, doesn't care about her money, loves her, wants to be her partner in whatever she wants to do in the world. So I bring that up because when you don't have money, you think money will solve all your problems. And anybody with money knows that that's not true. Just the problems show up changes. And the stakes can be very, very high and very scary on either end. So wherever you are on the spectrum, what we want is for you to have this incredibly fun, safe, delicious, inspiring relationship with your money honey, where you can imagine sitting shoulder to shoulder, cuddling on the couch, taking a look at your life circumstances and deciding together, should I go into business with that person? Should I release that project or that product, or should I go to or should I go to school, or whatever it's going to look like for you. Do that with your partner who sees your value and who prioritizes your value above all other things, so that together, this your money honey, one of the rules of your money honey is your money honey shares your values, so wants to be your partner in creating the world that you want to see in this world. So that's the legacy piece, and is always seeing you at your best, so that when you're not feeling great about yourself, this is a great way to tap into your intuition and see yourself as you really are, and not how you're feeling about yourself moment to moment to moment, which can be all over the place. And then ultimately, some people will start making big money for the first time after doing this process. Some people were already great at making big money and even better at losing it and attracting drama and lawsuits and stuff like that. And that's another indicator that, ooh, we've got a monster here. So what we want to do is we want to take out the drama. I know earlier I said I'm a drama queen and I love dramatic results, and I do. I love the stories of people going from 0 to 5, 6, 7, 8 figures in short amounts of time. That's fun. But what I really love, and why I really do this, is witnessing people love themselves and love life in a way that they hadn't before, because that's what the work really is. And money is just, again, that part of life that needs our love and our healing, not only for ourselves, but for the planet.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right, folks. That's right, indeed. My goodness, you got a whole freaking treasure trove of gems, baby. That's right. That's right. A whole treasure trove of gems, baby. That's right, indeed. My goodness. Love, lifestyle, and legacy. 3 L's, baby. Loving those L's. That's right. Turning those L's into those 3 lovely L's. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. So, definitely want to, if I'm recapping this correctly, basically uncovering anything that makes you feel unloved and unwanted in this world, and then basically picturing your money monster and just uncovering who exactly or what that is, and really going deep into detail, like tapping fully into that imagination, like really, heck, even probably getting close enough to where you can smell the bad breath of it. If it's a fire breathing dragon. And then after that, destroy the monster and then meet your money honey.
Yes. And then ask your money honey. It's like getting, and here's why I have 2 more steps instead of ending at the 4th of meeting the money honey. Asking the money honey a question like, what do you need from me? And then later on in the relationship, like one of my favorite questions is, what do I need to learn here so I can let go of the struggle? Or what do you want me to do today? Or anything like that. It's like marriage, Dom. You want it, it's really helpful to stay in communication. And for some of you, it might be speaking silently in your head or out loud. A lot of us really like automatic writing. Those of us who like to feel things might get really good information where it's like, on my case, it might be MR. Hi, I'm feeling frustrated about this. MH. Tell me about it. And just, letting it pour out of my fingers. So you want to you want to learn how to have that dialogue. And then the 6th step is taking concrete, measurable action. And I think I didn't name that step, so I apologize. So thank you for recapping. Because no matter what the action is, and it may be obvious and it may be out of left field, real physical action lets us know that this is real. Like if you want real physical results in the world, you want to take some sort of real action, even if it's symbolic or even if it doesn't make sense. It changes your energy, and you want to take an action to let yourself know on the deepest level that this relationship actually has changed. And that's when weird things happen, sometimes really, really quickly. I received a letter from a woman named Lynn Swanson, and I posted this on my blog. I'll give you the name of that blog post at the end. But she was in this terrible situation where she was owed all this money from all these clients who were late in paying, and she didn't think she could make her payroll. So it wasn't just her own money, but it was the people working for her worried about not being able to pay them. And so she was in that really stressed out state when she heard me teach. And because the person who is in that stressed out state tends to have the easiest access to the monster, she did the process, she visualized her monster, she destroyed her monster, and then she met her money honey, who looked like John Travolta in the white suit from Saturday Night Fever. Right? But she thought, oh, that's ridiculous, and tried to imagine him wearing something else. And she kept throwing different clothes on him, and he kept popping back in the white suit. And which, by the way, when I'm reading this, I'm going, oh my God, I love this. She got it, because not only is he's so real, he has his own personality and a sense of humor. And then as the concrete measurable action that they agree that he's really clear he wants her to take, he tells her to transfer money from one bank account to another. Which, for those of us in the home audience, we're reading this and going, but that doesn't do anything. That's not going to solve the problem. But that's what he wanted her to do. So the next day she did. She went to the bank, she transferred the money from one account to another and collected her little receipt and popped in the car, turned on the radio, and the Bee Gees are playing. Get it? Saturday Night Fever, Bee Gees. And she laughs. She has a little like money honey chuckle to herself. And he's, I think, sitting in the passenger seat. And she stops for coffee, to pick up coffee for the people in her office on her way back to the office. And she's standing in line, checking her smartphone like everybody does. And she finds an email from a big client that was invoiced that day, who wrote to her that he was going to wire the entire amount that day. And it was a big 5-figure amount that was going to more than pay all of her debt and her payroll, and she was going to be okay. And she looked at the timestamp on the email and the timestamp on her bank deposit receipt, and it was a difference of 2 minutes. Right? What took so long? How do we tighten that up? I'm joking. I thought it was a really cool story. So yeah, that, her, and if I got any of the details wrong at all, I apologize. I'm just going on memory. It's at my blog at morganarae.com. It's called John Travolta Loves You is the name of that blog post. And you can read her words and get it all right, because she tells it better than I do.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good indeed. Definitely solid content indeed. Solid story too indeed. That's right, folks. So if the Bee Gees plays on your freaking radio today, that may be a sign of something. Who knows? I'm not saying everybody has John Travolta in their head as their money honey, but hey, just saying.
It is a cute idea.
Yes, indeed. That'll be a little awkward for me, but hey, if it work for some person's listening right now, then hey, go for it. Go for it. Play the Connect Four and go for it. Oh my goodness. So since it's far from your first rodeo, kind of got a I don't know if it's a good or bad habit, just asking every guest, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these podcasts?
Oh, goodness. I don't ever think that way, because I actually love the questions that you come up with that I didn't think of, because that's what keeps it alive and fresh for me. You didn't ask me what my money honey looks like. How
You know,
dare you, Dom? You didn't.
Well, that's the thing. When I binge on like freaking 5 hours of your past interviews, I kind of already have somewhat of an
Oh,
idea, and it kind of
sorry.
makes it bad for and it makes it bad for it makes it good for me for knowing, but bad for listeners because they don't know the entire story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Good on you for doing your homework. Well, actually, what you wouldn't know, because I don't think I've ever shared this before, is the last time I did it, my money honey looked like Devin, which is awkward because Devin is also my human honey. And I honestly usually recommend that the money honey looks different from your partner, but at the end of the day, your money honey is going to look like what your money honey looks like. And since they like to gang up on me anyway, in like the sweetest supportive way, it's hasn't been a problem that right now they look alike, maybe because that's where my love is parked. Doesn't mean that my money honey will always look like Devin. And if you're wondering what I mean about changing, sometimes we outgrow our money honey. So this is actually really useful to know because I don't want anyone thinking that, oh, it's a silver bullet. You say I love you once and you're good to go for the rest of your life. That doesn't work in marriage, and that doesn't work in any lifetime relationship. And you're going to have a relationship with money for the rest of your life. So you want to make it a juicy, wonderful, romantic, yummy, hot, sexy, terrific relationship. So sometimes you outgrow the money honey who was fantastic for however long. And in my case, my first money honey lasted 5 or 6 years. And then there was so much going, I think it was 5 years. And then 2008 hit, and I was seeing people in a devastation and terror over and over and over again at a level I had never seen before. And I felt so hurt and angry at seeing this in the world and the injustice that it really eroded my trust and my relationship with money. And without even noticing it, I no longer had a positive relationship with my money honey, and I had to start over. So I think my first money honey looked like that actor who played Dr. McDreamy on Grey's Anatomy, and then I started over, slayed a new monster, and had this even better relationship with a new money honey that looked like Clive Owen. And anytime I ever feel stuck or I feel like things are stale, I'll just do the process again. And maybe I'll get a new money honey, or maybe I'll just get a deeper relationship with the one I have. But what happens is when you keep doing it as needed, it adds power to the relationship. Just like every time my husband and I exchange vows, it adds power and new energy and new romance to the relationship when you clear out again anything that is coming up that is making the world feel unsafe or making you feel unloved or unworthy, and you slay in a new monster. It creates new momentum and new energy, and it gives more power, and you get a better, more intimate, more real money honey on the other side. Just like every wedding that I have with Devin goes to a deeper place in me and feels more real. Every time you do this, the money honey feels more real and more deep, and then the money gets bigger. And I first learned this from a client of mine back in 2008, where I was mentoring a bunch of coaches, and everybody was having breakthroughs, but hers were like at a totally different level. And she went from being massively in debt, in wallowing in debt and mortgage and personal drama, to all of her debts paid off, and having a bunch of $10,000 clients that she had never had before, because she was this intuitive healer type, charging $100 an hour. And she was making tens of thousands of dollars and going on money moons with her money honey down to Miami That's a lot of M's, by the way. And I wanted to find out what was she doing differently than everybody else. And she told me that I had coached her through slaying her money monster and creating a money honey maybe twice. But in what I think was a 3 or 4 month period, she had slayed her monster and a new monster and a new monster 13 times. And every time she did it, it just gave her more momentum. So it's not, because I don't believe anything is a, you know, one time hit the button and go on autopilot for the rest of your life, especially if it's a relationship. But it is a life skill. Every time you need a boost and you're feeling stuck, whether it's money or it's love or it's health or it's a project, take a look. Is there a monster? If you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and it's still not working, just take a look now that you've become a master at this. Is there a monster that I need to destroy? And by the way, I'm being a little facetious about saying if you're a monster, because I don't expect anybody listening here to master this in the 45 minutes that we're together. I'm giving you everything that I can cram into our time together because I want you to master it. But I also want you to give yourself a break, take a deep breath. There's so many levels and nuances to everything that I said today. I only hope for you maybe grabbing 20% of it. Listen to Dom's interview over and over and over again. Go to my website. I have tons of free resources on everything, on the money honey, on the money monster, just in my blog. I also have some curated gifts to guide you through the process. And if you need more help, I have programs, and with me or without me, self-study programs and then coaching programs to help you with that too.
Yeah, that's right. Because we only barely scratched the surface, y'all. She's got a boatload of content for you to devour, including this wonderful interview. Indeed, all on that fabulous site, morganarae.com. Yes, indeed. Heck, even quick small question before the special question every guest gets to receive. So, since I guess with the classic saying, new levels, new devils, and I guess with getting like new money after getting rid of an old money honey and I mean, actually, whoa, let me clear that part up. Getting rid of an old money monster and then getting a new money honey. Is there a time where it's more than one of each in terms of like at the same time? Like, if there's ever been a time where it's been like, oh, there's two money honeys and two money monsters simultaneously, or is it always, or at least in your case, always been at least one of each every time you've had to go through the process?
I can't believe you asked me that. Ding, ding, ding. That is such a good question. Nobody has ever asked me that before. So the answer is yes. Yes, it has happened. And it's messy. It's not, and it works anyway. So here's sometimes I once had a client, this was a 7-hour coaching
Oh God.
session with a 7-figure coach who was already making 7 figures, who not didn't have one monster, but had like an army of monsters that we ultimately had to consolidate into one monster that he could obliterate. And we did it, but whoa, was that work. That was a lot of work, because what happened is his monster had a good deal going and wanted to hold on and wanted to jump into different places and look like many, because this monster did not want to go. But that monster was gone, was eradicated. So that was that messy. So yes, that has happened. And sometimes, and this is actually far more frequent, there's a monster behind a monster behind a monster behind a monster. And you just keep going until you get to the monster behind the curtain, the real one. And My commitment is that I can outlast anybody's monster. We are going to get to the bottom of it. So if you're doing this on your own, and I would just say, just keep going, just keep going. And if it feels too scary to do it on your own, and you're not in a position to hire me to help you with that, and that's fine, then if you can, if there is any really safe, non-judgmental person in your world who can just sit there, maybe on the other end of the phone, and just be there while you take yourself through the process. In my experience, the presence of another human allows you to go deeper than you could go on your own. It creates almost like a lifeline back. You know that you can come back, because I think I said change happens at the speed of safety. So that is one thing that I would encourage you to put in place, because I want you to be safe doing this, because it can be, sometimes it's easy, like sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. And by the way, you get to have a great payoff either way. So that's the multiple monster side. I had a really, really funny situation, and I've had it more than once. But about 10 years ago, I had a client who, when she hired me, she was like, oh, I have to come up with the money, and I have to shuffle accounts, and I have to figure out where I'm going to come up with it. And by the time we were done coaching, she was selling her company for millions and millions of dollars. And this was within under a year. So here's what happened is she had outgrown one money honey, but he didn't want to leave. And so suddenly she had two. And I had them talk to each other. And I think the solution really was, she is so loved and so valued that she has a team. And I think that's when they blended into one. But I have occasionally had, here's my only rule, is whatever works. I was on a call years ago where some adorable woman asked if it was okay if her money honey was a werewolf. And I asked, is it a cute werewolf? Do you like him? Is he in love with you? Is he safe? Okay, you have a werewolf. Enjoy. I had another client whose money honey was initially Jesus. And I asked, is he a sexy Jesus? I think she ended up moving from Jesus to what is that ridiculously sexy Spanish actor? Oh, I can't remember his name. He starred in Zorro.
Wait, is it Antonio Banderas?
That's it. Yes. Yeah, because here's the thing about why your money honey shouldn't be Jesus, is because Jesus is way up here, God, sin-free, perfection, and we're down here, human being. God is all powerful. We're human. So we want partnership. We don't want hierarchy. We want another human being, because we can be closer. It's more intimate, and we have more power in the relationship. So when the money honey switched from Jesus, and we love Jesus, but for the money honey, Antonio Banderas was a better choice and got better results. That's all. Thank you for such a great question.
Oh, my pleasure indeed. Because as you were going deeper into it, I'm like, so was there like a Sparta 300 taking on 1 million evil money monsters?
Oh,
And
I
then it
hope
turns
not.
into like a freaking Cleopatra or King Solomon type of swag where it's like, oh yeah, I got a whole harem of money honeys now. It's like, oh.
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't, because, and this is interesting. So we don't want it to be a video game, because a video game we have a safe distance from. We're not in actual danger. So we don't get emotionally engaged. When I say we, I mean me. I don't have that experience of like, I'm going to die here if I don't change this from a video game. So we don't want that. That can be a way to protect ourselves from the experience and from the change. But we want the change. So we don't want it to be like a video game. We want it to be like, this monster has singled us out and has put the full force of his power and his venom on making us miserable. And it's very, very personal. And he's going to win if I don't destroy him, if I don't reject him, if I don't eliminate from my life the things that make life not okay. So, and by the way, your life experience changes so dramatically even before the circumstances do. And that's what's so amazing and magical is the circumstances follow the inner shift and you know it. And the stuff that freaked you out an hour ago is like, oh, and it's manageable. And it's like, I can deal with this no matter what this is. And you come at it differently and you make better decisions and you have more resourcefulness than you had before, because that's what is really happening here. So yeah, you want it to be, honestly, you do want the monster to be as big as you can make that monster, because it's also unleashing the energy that creates the transformation that we want. So that, because we want a big transformation that leads to big real world results and lasts, and you need a big reason for that transformation. If it's going to be 1,000 little Sparta guys, great, but there needs to be that one center of consciousness that controls them all. And you take out that, and you take out the Hydra, you take out all of the trolls or bots or soldiers collapse when you take out that area of consciousness that's focused on you, and you just take it out and you wipe them all out. And then on the other side, that love of your life that feels so personal and sexy and wonderful to you. And if you're not ready for sexy, that's okay. Then maybe you have just somebody who is so lovable and loves you and is worthy of your love and safe. I find that a lover archetype works better. And when I say better, I just take a look at client results and how their life changes and how much money they make. The lover archetype has worked best, but I also know that some people have had really, really bad experiences with sex and love and relationships. So I would go tread lightly, know yourself, be good to yourself, and don't try to force anything that doesn't feel safe, because that's just another monster, and you deserve to be loved and safe.
Woohoo!
Mm.
Amen indeed. Amen indeed. That's right. The magnificent Morgana's been dropping heat, baby. Definitely got to play this interview back 3 times indeed, if not 7 times indeed, because there's so much you can capture and so many notes. Like I've taken a page of it already indeed off my little notebook here. But we're coming down to the question to respect your time that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but this time you're in 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Oh my goodness, that's such an interesting question. Because on one hand, wow, it'd be so cool to have like the 2020 eyesight and like the flexibility, the like, loose muscles and all that kind of stuff of 25. Oh my God. I think there are some things that just take the time that they take. I think, oh, could you repeat your question again? Because you just threw me for a loop. What is the question again?
Certainly. So you basically wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but you're in 2021, the current year, with all of your knowledge and experience.
Wow, that would be amazing. So I not much would change in my life except I would waste no time fretting about bad dates. That's for sure. Because I would know that I know how to choose the right person and my right person is there. And I would go crazy taking West Coast swing dance classes and becoming like a world-class competer. If I had a 25-year-old body, I would be going down that West Coast swing rabbit hole without a parachute. I would just be diving in.
Love it indeed. Love it indeed. That's right. That's right. I guess that'll make Devin a sugar daddy in that case if it actually happened. Since he would still be 40 in this case. 40s or 50s.
He's 55 and so cute. That's the fun thing is that he totally gives me butterflies. And that's a very nice experience. But it's also less dramatic. We don't have fights. We don't break up and get back together. We just enjoy each other. And that's better than anything. If we want excitement, we get on a plane and we go somewhere. That's way better. That's a whole other conversation. That's why we have our crazy sexy midlife love podcast, because nobody told me that love gets better as we get older. Just you wait, Dom. It just gets better and better.
Amen to that. Amen to that indeed. Sweet. So I got my parents and I got you two as examples to look forward to follow. That's good. All right.
Yeah, you're just entering the good age. There's something magical that happens with men when they transition into their 30s. You get a certain gravitas. You're not the boy that you were when you were in your early 20s and stuff. You just you start to it's almost like you start to own your kinghood. And I noticed this just from all those years of dating, just the difference that happens. It's really cool.
Probably cooler than 8 cucumbers, maybe.
Oh, we're up to 8 now. I just gained a cucumber. Yay, me.
Yeah.
If I play my cards right, we might be at 10 by the time we log off.
Oh, don't worry. You probably got 777 cucumbers, probably.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. She gets 3 sevens, y'all. That's right.
Yeah, you should start ranking your podcast by number of cucumbers.
That's right, folks. This episode was 10 out of 10 cucumbers, y'all. That's right.
That would be you should do that.
Yeah. That's right. Funny thing about me is if you give me an idea and I like it and it gets a chuckle, I'm gonna run with it for years.
Good. That's a great way to live.
Oh yeah, that's right. Some of my colleagues are still confused and they confusingly love it sometimes. Like, oh, Dom, why? It's like, why'd you give him more mileage? Don't give his jokes mileage. He's gonna run over to the ground and then give him wings again.
Well, but that's part of how you know who your people are. The people who like your jokes are your people.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
We
Hang around. Oh, go
we
ahead.
just interviewed a couple who were celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and when I asked him how he knew she was the one, she got his jokes. That was, I mean, she's gorgeous, but but she got his jokes, and he had just come out of this really demoralizing relationship with somebody who put him down and never laughed at his jokes. And there's something about when somebody laughs at your jokes, it's like you feel loved. It's so intimate. It's kind of more intimate than sex. But if you can combine laughter and sex, that's a home run. Maybe not at the same time. That depends on your preference.
Yep, that's definitely another podcast. So if we continue, I end up with corn cobs in our ears. So for
Right.
those who want to keep in contact with you and all that you and your lovely husband are doing as well, what's the best way for folks to do so?
MorganaRae.com. That is the best place to go. If you're curious about your relationship with money, you will see that I've got my money love quiz on the homepage. I also have my 4-part money magnetic video series and just endless resources on my blog. Opt into the video series or the quiz, and you will have access to being on my VIP list, where I like to drop any inspiration or help that comes into my consciousness during the week, or maybe somebody sends me a question and I answer it. I don't share their name, but I'll answer it publicly to my list so that it can help everybody, and we just build a relationship, and you can find a lot of your answers on my website. It's a great place to get to stay in relationship.
Woo! Well, there you have it, folks. Head over to MorganaRae.com. Y'all change your life forever indeed. Keep in contact and keep up with what she's doing, because she's doing a whole lot of wonderful stuff. And heck, even if you're one of those bookcasters like myself or Morgana, tune in on Clubhouse every other Sunday as well, because her and her husband Devin do this wonderful Clubhouse room every Sunday. Let's see, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Pacific.
Pacific time. And yeah, by the way, my book, Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation, you will, I'm having trouble speaking now. You'll find that on the homepage of my website. This is what gives me permission to not have to personally coach everybody on the planet, because so many people get the breakthrough just using the book. And some of those people do become my favorite clients. Like Pam had her first $250,000 sales month using my workbook long before I ever met her. Well, I don't know how long, but she had already had that before she applied to coach with me. And when I saw that in her application, I was like, well, that's interesting. So my goal, my ambition is for everybody to have financial freedom and financial security, to focus your lives on what we were talking about earlier: love, lifestyle, and legacy. And one of the best first places to do that is to just start with the book, because you'll see that the first half is writing and then the rest of it is doing. And really easy daily journaling practices, very specific, that I developed for myself first. And then I created the book that I wanted, which is not a book that you read once and forget about, but something you open every day and you turn it into the life you want. And I kept exceeding my goals year after year. And then I published it for other people, and they started writing all this crazy, wonderful stuff that was happening for them, that you can see it in the reviews on Amazon. People that I don't even know are talking about what happened for them. So that's a good place to start for your transformation if you want to go deeper with this and have a structure to help you after hearing me today.
That's right. You'll have all the gold bricks, y'all. That's right. That's
Mm.
right, indeed. That structure, indeed. That's right. Build your own metaphorical Taj Mahal, y'all. That's right. That's right. She's got you covered like a blanket, y'all. Got you covered like a blanket. Yes, indeed. So check it out, y'all. Check it out. Like 77 library books, indeed. Check it out. It'll all be in the show notes. So, any closing thoughts before we close up shop, Morgana?
No, I just appreciate you so much. Thank you for creating this space to go deep and asking me that question nobody's ever asked me before. That was fun. I hope this served your audience, and you're amazing.
Thanks a bunch for listening to this podcast episode. Hope you really enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to this show if you haven't already, because more greatness is coming your way. And if you're so inclined, be sure to share with at least 3 other people in your network so that way more folks can catch the fire that is on the Going North podcast. Keep winning at life and advance others to advance yourself.